Mics are hot, Gary. Be
Hot,
careful.
hot, hot. Be careful.
You remember what happened last time?
Yes.
Okay, we're live, Gary. Don't
Okay,
say
where is it?
anything.
Where I don't see
say
anything.
No more of your sexist comments.
Am I supposed to see it now, or is it? Come
Hold on, Grandpa. Hold on. Just slow down, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Here, we want to go to Applebox Network
Ooh,
first.
the first.
First, we have to go
I
to the
see
page,
me.
Gary. You see? No, that's not you. That's from your last show. No, that is
It
you.
is, see? Can I post it now?
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, there we go. We're in.
Go down. You have to post it from down here. Wait. Too soon.
Too soon. Gotta go.
Too soon, Gary. Okay. Hold on. There you are.
Oh, thank God.
Now you share right from there.
Let me touch.
Got 2 viewers. Hello out there. How you doing? Thank you.
Must be Dan Cosman and Mike Uribe. They're out of work. No, it must be raining.
They're not working today.
They're not working today.
We'll get some crap on that one.
Oh, yeah, immediately.
All right, Gary, here we go. I am sharing.
I thought you said you couldn't share.
No, I can share.
Oh, you just can't post.
Oh, yeah, I can share on my own stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in Facebook jail, everybody, so,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you go like this.
I'm
Bernie.
hoping to get out for good behavior.
Just
yeah.
pretend you're in jail.
I'm taking the cup and raking it against my digital bars.
Digital bars. Let me out. I got a lot to talk about.
Great.
Good in the neighborhood. Oh, we lost one. Must have went to the restroom.
Yeah, it's us. We are the two.
We are the two.
We are the two.
Oh, that's true. But you got knocked out. Oh, we're up to 3. Thank you.
That's classic.
How to create a show.
That's classic.
Share yourself.
We're over the top. 3.
Sammy, can you get on to make it 4?
Yeah, I was on.
I'll pay for some of your data.
Sammy's on the Disney Channel right now.
He's on the Disney
Yeah.
Plus channel.
He's watching Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
Have you seen that?
No,
the
no.
Mandalorian?
No, I heard.
Oh my God, that Mandalorian.
Yeah, don't mispronounce that one.
Oh, no, I'll get it.
Oh God.
Yeah, I know who Baby Yoda is.
You do.
Yeah.
All I want to know is who the masked singer is. Oh, we're up to 7. Oh my God, Bruce must be. He stopped counting his pennies. 11. Man, you know people are lonely today.
Well, it's raining now. Everybody had to go home.
It's raining.
All right, everybody get off.
Oh, you
you've
got
watched
13
The
viewers,
Irishman.
dude. 13
Yeah.
viewers here.
You've already watched The Irishman, so let's get over to the Burning Man. To the Burning Men.
This will feel just as long.
Just
Yeah,
as
yeah.
long. Joe Pesci stopping by.
Only we don't have any young cameras.
That's
we just have the old man cameras. That's all we can afford.
Yeah, can you shoot me from the eyebrows
dude,
up?
That's so funny. That's
No
so
baggage.
funny.
We don't need any baggage. Oh my God, it's a new world's record, 16.
Good, good.
Lee must be in town. Yeah, Bruce, Lee, Mark. So funny. I
Oh,
knew
Dan
it. I knew
Cosman.
it.
There he is.
I knew it.
You know, I think Dan eats lunch early so he can get ready by 2 o'clock, and he's all snuggled in. Puts his pajamas on. He's watching at Bernie's Applebox. I'm sure that's it.
Yeah, we're not advertising. Test 1 2 2 2 2.
Geez, we got 26 viewers right now.
No way.
Who?
Well, that's Bernie.
Oh, mine. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
We're just trying
Who
for
would do
feedback.
something like that? What moron?
Hey, we can talk less.
Okay, here we go. Going into the opening. Hey everybody, how you doing? Bernie here, Bernie's Applebox. I am here with the main man.
I say
Gary
infamous.
Heimann. Infamous. In some circles, I am.
That's true.
That's,
Bernie back in town.
how you doing, brother?
Very good.
All right.
Good to see ya.
And it's a rainy Orange County today, but we are snug in our studio, coming to you live. That's right.
How many
right.
viewers now? We're down to 17.
All right. Well, what can we do, Gary? Viewers come and go, but
Yes.
stick around. It's going to be a great show. We're going to talk about best practices for the new year coming in 2020. And you know what? I'll tell you, Gary, we just did sort of a best practices a few shows ago, I think a few weeks ago. But I'm telling you, the truth is, things are changing so fast in our industry now, and there's so many different elements on marketing yourself. I would say marketing yourself may be the biggest thing we can talk about for 2020 because you have so many opportunities. And I feel this way, and anybody who knows me knows I do a lot of social media. You almost can't do enough now, you know?
Yeah, that's so true, Bernie. You know, I think I see a lot of posts
Yeah.
up on Facebook and people showing their production stills.
Yeah.
That's the easiest thing to do.
Oh, it is
Easy,
a no-brainer. It is a no-brainer.
Even if you use old pictures.
Yeah. Oh,
you know, dating back when, how, and where.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Any picture is a good picture. You know what I mean? You post, you know, back in the day or whatever. I got some stuff when I was on Tybo doing that. I post that. That always gets a big response. But you know, it's a different game now too. I mean, when I first started, and Facebook was 10 years ago for me now, you know, even 11, but really 10 years ago is when I started to kind of pick up, get some momentum and everything like that. Back in those days, it was funny because you just had to post almost any production picture and it would get a response.
Yes.
You know, it would depend on how many friends you had back in those days. I mean, I had maybe 1,000 friends, you know what I mean? But and for that number, it would get a good response.
Sure.
But now it's like the market is so saturated with everything, and I probably am not maybe the best judge of what's out there because I have a very narrow focus, and it is production. It's production people, production issues. You know what I mean? What is going on there? Now the whole crowd has matured so much that just posting a production picture won't get the response. I mean, it won't. It is just almost white noise now.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Leaving a little description, maybe a little. You know, you add a little cheese to it.
I think it's a must, and I think from where I'm coming at now, you really have to. Maybe this isn't the right word, but challenge the community. You have to challenge the community with the idea. You have to challenge them with the way things are changing, you know, and there are so many areas in which it's changing. I mean, one of the things, and we're going to talk about this a little bit. I posted on it this week and got a big response. AB5, this whole new thing that if you're hired by a production company, you're an employee, you're no longer 1099, won't work like it used to. Right. And that remains to be seen how that's going to play out. Now, it doesn't affect the union people as much, but I wrote on that, and you know, a lot of people answered back. There's a lot of back and forth on that issue, you know. But I would say bottom line is it puts a stress on our community, on that freelancer community who is not doing pictures or in the union, puts a big stress on them. However, I want to come up, and we'll talk about this later. This is an opportunity too. this is a big opportunity for people to up their game. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But just in general, in the social media world, you have to challenge the community. I think you have to have things that they can participate in and talk to you back. If you want that leadership, and that's one thing I've been advocating, is for you to have a future in this business, you have to take a leadership role.
I agree. I agree. Hey, get a shout out to Mr. Tony.
Well, Tony, yeah, let's see
this
it.
whole
Let's
deal.
see the control panel, Tony.
Yes, yay,
Let's see,
Tony.
let's see
Hey,
the
everyone.
brains of the operation right
He's
there.
the brains, yes. Make sure you share and like the show, and go to our YouTube page. If you don't know, we have a whole bunch of stuff on YouTube. All kinds of content over there. Lighting, Applebox shows, events, all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah,
So,
we got a bunch of stuff.
yeah, go over to YouTube and like our page and check out the content there. You'll love it.
Thank you, Tony.
Great, Tony.
Extra bowl of rice for you.
Yeah,
Extra
yeah,
bowl
yeah.
of rice. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Maybe we'll give you some soy sauce with it.
Yeah.
Just to get it down.
Hey, he's got to stay with the incentives. Don't give him too
and,
much.
and by the way, low sodium only.
Right.
Get the green stuff.
That speaks up to something there. What Tony said. Tony and I were in the studio here yesterday with Nick. We were doing some stuff for Light Gear, doing some lighting reviews and stuff like that. I mean, that's one thing that I have seen for myself and started to really understand. I've been playing around the periphery of like influence or talking to the community. I think I've probably done a pretty good job of it. But I'm looking at it right now and understanding that I have to up my game. Like right now, if I stayed the same as what I was doing even in 2019, which is the most engagement that I've done, I am going to fall quickly behind. So, I mean, the challenge is on me to come up with good stories, good ideas, things to engage the community. And that really helped the community. I mean, not just engaging them, not just a fun, great picture or something like that, but actually talk to the issues, of which is affecting all of us.
Yeah, that's very true. As we look back on 2019, we want to see the highlights.
Yeah.
What were some great moments?
Right.
Great production times, and then we want to see what the low times were.
Yeah.
Where the mistakes were.
Yeah.
And then moving forward to 2020 coming up.
Yeah.
We have to jump on our successes.
Right.
And figure out less of the negatives of 2019.
Right.
That's I think that's the key looking forward.
I think that is a good idea. You know what I mean? Let's talk. I'm just going to check. We're doing a Facebook watch. Oh, we got something? We got something, Tony?
Take a look.
Oh. I can't see it. I'm on watch right now. So
He's on lockdown.
yeah, I might not. What is it?
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. I got
He's
a
on
Facebook
lockdown.
watch. Yeah.
Hey, Michael Uribe wanted to say they are watching from the green room at Capitol Records.
All right. Thank you.
I made it to Capitol
Thank you.
Records. What do you know?
Hey, why didn't I get a call for that? That is
Thanks,
awesome.
Mike.
Thank you very much. Thank
on,
you.
Mike.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Right on,
Much
right on.
appreciated. But I was going to say that this year has been a very transitional year for me. The last 3 or 4 years, I wasn't going out a lot, but I was going out at a fairly steady rate. Long ago, I've sort of stopped doing the day rate thing and just taking care of the business, and the business made enough money for me to pay myself a salary, and that's sort of the way that I've been going the last few years. This year, I had a very interesting experience. I was out on set, and this was like last March, right? And it was a big shoot. It was Camping World, and we were doing some big stuff. We had 2 or 3 sets going, and it was a good-sized shoot. I was gaffing it. Don Blackburn was the DP. Had just sweetheart production company. Great director, Brendan McBride, and Pip, his wife, and another Pip. How often are you on a set with two Pips? Yeah. And then she was the I think she might have been directing that, and Brennan was the
DP or
no, I think he was the producer.
oh, producer. Okay.
Yeah. So, everything is going great, right? But here I am, and I'm running, 2 days before you're getting everything ready, lack of sleep, and then I'm out of town. I'm staying in some, crack motel down the road, you know what I mean? But You know, just going. About 1 o'clock, I swear, I'm walking, and you know, it's getting on to lunch. You know, we're supposed to have lunch like 2 or 2:30. I start feeling very lightheaded, and I decide, well, I'm going to sneak off to the truck because I don't want anybody seeing me if I'm not good. So I'm sitting there. It only starts to get worse. Okay, so I'm sitting there with that horrible decision to make, right? I'm of the age where maybe I know a little more now than just to kind of write it out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And I decide I've got to get checked. So I quietly use my phone, not the walkie, and call somebody and say, hey, look, here's what's happening. I'm going to be offset, you know, and get somebody to drive me, got the PA to drive me down there and stuff like that. Took me to the hospital. Well, when you walk in at my age with saying, oh, I was a little dizzy, man, I mean, they slam you on the gurney and check you for a stroke. That's numero uno. You know what I mean? So I'm going through all of this stuff, you know, and it wasn't a stroke.
Right.
It wasn't a stroke. It was, you know what it was?
You saw the invoice.
You
didn't get paid for 30 days.
I realized I didn't put the MATs on the estimate. But what it was, believe it or not, a kidney stone. Ultimately, it caused that. Kidney stones manifest themselves in any kind of way. So I've had a history with kidney stones. It's not life or death, but I could not tell what was wrong with me. You know, and that shoot, having to leave the set like that, was the first time ever in my entire
Kicking
career.
And screaming, right, all the way.
Yeah. And I just decided, you know what? I'm of the age now that I cannot go out in good consciousness now, and I am not giving the 100% that I gave when I was younger. I mean, that's the only way to put it, when I was younger. So I decided to roll it back, you know what I mean, and not really go out anymore.
Yeah.
Now, I have been out on other shoots since then. One that we just did in Santa Barbara, which was a big shoot. But I really thought about it, you know what I mean? And these were people that I had worked with for years, just loved them. I really sort of wanted to see them and work with them again directly.
Sure.
You know, but those days are over for me. And that's something that I had to accept. I had to get that through my head. I am not the same person as I was then. And not only that, but I am depriving someone of a spot on the crew because I don't need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So somebody else should be out on that crew, not just a newbie or anything like that, but another qualified person should be out there. And I think that opened my eyes to the changes I need to make. You know what I mean? And in that, one of them was to become more of somebody who advocates for the industry and advocates for the people in it. You know, also I started a sales site too with Nick Zagradich. You know what I mean? So now that takes a lot more focus.
Sure.
You know, even more than my rental business does, because I don't want to say it runs itself, but you know, I've got it set up pretty well where when we get orders, we can get them out pretty quickly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where the sales site is much more marketing driven, and that's where I need to focus my skills. You know.
Yeah. You know, before the show, we were talking a little bit about, you know, as getting up in the age categories.
Right.
Do we hang out with our own age, or do we try to make some new buddies of the guys coming up, and vice versa? The young guys, should they hang out with young guys all the time, or should they pull down a couple of the old guys as buddies?
That is so great, Gary. Honestly, that is so great, because I think you really call up something. You know, I have for a long time advocated reverse mentoring. Which is hook up with some younger guys, because let's face it, I will tell you this, anybody who's a baby boomer or in my age, that era in media is done.
Yes.
It's over. You know what I mean? We are living in a millennial world right now. You know, there is no doubt about it. You look at the platforms where everything's on, they're all millennial platforms.
Yes.
YouTube, Facebook, you know, just name it, you know. And I think the best pairing that anybody can do who are our age, older guys, you know what I mean, Well, I'll just use myself as the example. Everybody that I am partnering with right now in BG&L, which is Brad Elsey on the rental side, Nick Zagradich, who is on the sales side, these guys are in their early 40s. You know what I mean? They're a good 20 years younger than I am, and more, you know, to be honest with you.
Well, and then, you know, there's income averaging, now there's age averaging.
You know what? It's true.
When you show a picture,
it's
always nice, instead of two old schmoes up there, or two young guys, you get an old and a young guy, and then you age average.
Yes,
and then instead of looking, you know, in your 60s, and he's in his 20s, you're in that solid field.
Well, each of you should bring something to the table.
Absolutely.
That's really what it comes down to. You know, for me and my thing, now this is where I was lucky, as I was an early adopter in social media. Therefore, I've got 10 years of bankability that I've got, and people know me, and they know what my feelings are, what my philosophies are, you know what I mean?
And what you bring to the table.
Bring to the table, advocate for the community, you know, and the younger guys coming in, I mean, I'll use Brad Elsey as an example. You know, I've got a thriving rental business. It has been going very strong for 10 years. You know, no issues whatsoever. Right. That enables him to come in to that business fully established, making income. He has an opportunity to financially get in and get a piece of it, you know, and I am able to transition myself away from the day-to-day activities of that he takes over, and he's much more qualified right now to do that than I am.
Sure.
Because he's out on set every day working with his compadres.
He's on the front line.
He's on the front line. Yeah. He's the forward-facing person in the business now. He's talking to the DPs. He's talking to the directors. He's calling up his guys to come on set with him, and they're working as a team. That's not me anymore. No. I'm not that guy. I don't have that what do you call it? The group that you're with, or you know, the group that you've got. It used to be I could pick up the phone and call 10 guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'd fill a crew up easily in an hour.
Yes.
You know? I don't even know who to call anymore.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's what it comes down to, you know?
So true.
So that's really important. Nick Zagradich on set lighting, and we're doing sales, you know what I mean? The good thing there is Nick has a knowledge base of equipment and gear like no one I've ever met. Honestly, no one that I've met in my side of the business has his knowledge base of gear and equipment and all that. Also, Nick has been on the business side of this industry for those last 20 years.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He knows who the players are. He knows sales techniques. He knows the objections that people come up with. He knows like the income average. It's almost like being a ball player. You know, you're batting a 300.
Sure.
That's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No one bats 1,000, but he knows when somebody comes up, he's going to take the swing. Maybe he, you know, gets on first base.
Sure.
Maybe he gets a home run. You don't know.
You don't know.
But that's the way it is, and that is him. Me, I can come in with community acknowledgement.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Community acknowledgement and the bona fides of having been the gaffer for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, and everything that goes with that. So that's like saying, this is the quality control on the business. This is when I tell you something, this comes from me as a gaffer, not a sales guy. You know what I mean? That combination is dynamic. You know what I mean? That really brings something to the table for the end customer.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
That is something that I see as a real way to make this work and do what you got to do to bring it along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. The way, you know, I'm going to look at, you know, 2000, we're going back 2019.
Yeah.
You start doing an inventory of, you know, your insurance, your gear, your the guys that you use, and, you know, some of the stuff, it's coming to the end of the year. You gotta give some of the stuff away to Goodwill. Yeah. Because if you don't go and get some of your stuff out there, you can't use it for the tax write-off. You got to be thinking right at the end of the year, tax write-off time.
Oh,
you got to make your big purchases now.
Oh,
especially if you made money in 2019.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you. here's the situation I always find myself in. I don't know exactly where I'm at, but I'm going to bet I owe money. Right?
Well, guaranteed.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I think you've got a feel for it too. You know what I mean? If you know how your money has come in throughout the year, did we have slow periods? I've got to say this year I didn't have very many slow periods.
Amazing.
I had a week or two here, a week or two there. That's not a slow period. That's cycle.
Breathing.
That's cycle.
Breathing.
Yeah, that's just cycle. Now in the day, and we have experienced this ourselves, sometimes you had down months.
Oh, yes.
Where you were working just several times a month. You know what I mean? Maybe 5 or 6, but you were just barely making it. Well, those years you're not making much. These years, and look at the economy. Look, the employment rate just had another spike. It was at the lowest in 50 years. It's had another spike in November.
Yes.
So, I mean, we are, and let me take this opportunity to say, raise your rate $50, please. I'm going to go on that again, too. I might go on a little...
RYR. Raise your rate.
Raise your rate.
RYR.
RYRF. B.
Me.
$50.
$50.
But it's been going on, it's been a great year. And all the headwinds, I was watching CNBC this morning, excuse me, they were all talking about, like, we're blowing, the consumer confidence is so high and the consumers are spending so much money right now that it almost dwarfs any tariff issues. It dwarfs any things like that. It's blowing through it, I think this is really a golden time right now, and I'm very serious about raising your rate. This is the time. And you know what? I posted an article on Facebook this week that was about, and this is something that Hollywood has not learned yet. Now our industry has headwinds. The entertainment industry, the movie making industry never had headwinds before. There was only one place that you could go if you wanted to make movies. Really it was LA.
Yeah,
if you wanted any kind of career in making it. We could afford to pay people nothing. We could afford to just get them up and make them work for years to get to the status of making a living.
That's true.
That is over, dude. And what I think that the movie making industry has not learned yet is now you have competition from social media, gaming, and a half dozen others that people can go in and be a key element player. Like, there's probably more status if you're working at Facebook than there is if you're working at Warner Brothers.
It's true.
So I think that in our industry, we are learning, and I hope we're learning quickly, that we're in a competitive employment market, you know what I mean? And we're never going back to the way it was. Oh, there was my lights out. Okay.
Oh, thank God. Did you pay the electricity bill, Bernie?
Only part of it.
I think the sun went away. The solar panel didn't work.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Sammy, did you kick the cord over there?
No.
All right.
I think we're
Sammy's
safe.
okay.
We're
Sammy's
okay. It's okay.
He says he didn't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's sabotaging the set. He's the
paid audience. But you know what? That's a real thing. And a lot of people are not realizing that the entertainment industry is not going back to what it was, the only game in town before.
No.
You have to recruit people, you have to pay people, and you have to keep people happy.
Absolutely.
And I come back right to my tribe too on that one. The sort of non-union guy who is out there working, you know what I mean, and working in the industry. Don't work yourself out of a job by lowering your wage too much. You know what I mean? You've got to get out there and fight for that money and demand it.
Oh, yeah.
And you won't get the job with the lowballers. And that's my point exactly. You want to go out there and get the people who are doing some real production.
Absolutely.
And spending real money, and they're making real money too. You know?
Bernie, I'll tell you, all through these years, it always seems to me that the lower the budget is, or your rate, somebody's
Yeah.
offering, or an equipment rental,
Right.
the bigger the headache.
Oh, the pain in the ass,
Oh,
dude.
my God.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it's like that equal that low wage, bigger pain in the ass is absolutely, they're attached, you know.
Yeah, well, they you know.
And also the lower
yeah.
wage, the harder you got to fight to get your money.
That's what I'm saying. And that's
Yeah.
the other problem, too.
Yeah.
That's the back end
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the situation.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, if they're not coming in with real rate,
right.
good luck on collecting, too.
Right, right.
That's the
and you
bottom
know what?
line.
I'll tell you, we're not here yet. I get that. You know what I mean? But I would like to see something take place with the freelancers who are out there working, because this is, while I won't say that it is a common problem in our industry, most people do get paid. Most people get paid on time, all of that. However, there is a too high of a percentage that do not.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I would like to see people start a thing just like an employment agreement. You know what I mean? And have the well, and maybe I'm even talking out of turn. I may be talking way 2019 right now with AB5 coming in, the new law. But some sort of thing that says this is a commitment to pay. You know what I mean?
Right.
And listen, I advocate getting credit cards from clients, because
idea.
you should have, any freelancer out there should have a way to get money from the client.
Yeah. Now, you don't have to go all the way and set up a big credit card acceptance deal. Can't you just do a
I think you can
Square?
do a
Can't
PayPal,
you do
maybe a
Square
PayPal,
or PayPal?
you
That's
know,
a great
something
idea.
like that.
Simple.
And I know some of the QuickBooks has this, and I know some of the other ones. Invoicing software has a pay now thing. You know, maybe you do a promise to pay, give 5% off or something, or I mean, like pay within 2 days. You know what I mean? Because you've got to get your cash flow going.
Yes,
you know what I
that's
mean.
key.
Yeah, you
That
got to
is
get your
key.
cash flow going.
That's what I was going to ask you, Bernie. Do you give clients any type of a discount if they pay same day, COD, and within 5 days?
You know what? I don't. I'm not saying that I would not be open to some negotiation there. You know what I mean? But what I usually do is I send them a credit application that states on there we are charging for the job after the job's done.
Okay,
You know?
never prior.
I have done it mostly at the behest of a client if they have asked me to do so, you know what I mean? But I'm not beyond that. I mean, I would certainly look at that
At
as
least
an option.
what about 50%?
50%
up
before, yeah. You know, especially, well, really it should be 50% within 48 hours of the job, because you've booked the gear there, you've turned other jobs down
that's
with
right.
that gear, you're committing that gear to that job. So I don't think that's out of line. I don't particularly do that because I like to be, you know, more flexible than that.
Sure,
You know,
sure.
for my clients and stuff. So, but I think you're well within your rights to do it.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring about the cancellation rate one more time, just to get a little clarification.
Yeah.
What's the deal on your end for labor and equipment?
Well, I don't charge a cancellation on equipment. I just don't do that because it's usually a non-issue with me. You know what I mean?
Let's say they called the morning of.
Okay.
Talent sick, blah blah, weather, whatever, and you've
That's a tough
you've
question.
already sub-rented gear from
Well, if I've
AC/DC.
sub-rented gear, then they're going to pay for
See,
it.
that's
Yeah.
what
Now, I
wanted to
will
get
say
down.
that if there's a cost to me, they're going to have to make up that cost.
Oh, okay.
You know, or a Fisher Dolly, better example.
Yeah, there you go.
Because I can't get a Fisher Dolly without renting one from Fisher.
There you go.
And if they've committed for that, then I'm going to get that money.
You charge them the 50%.
No, I charge them the whole thing.
Okay.
If I've sub-written something, that charge is complete.
And
know
then
what
what
I mean?
about labor? How do you do the labor?
Labor, you know, frankly, I'd say, you know, I'm very liberal, I think, in this, is that I go at a 24-hour, then you're charged the full rate.
What about 48 hours?
I will probably charge the full rate.
48.
But, 48, but because here's what always happens to the guys. You know what I mean? you see, I call them on Monday and say, we got a gig on Friday, right? And then Wednesday comes around, and then noon Wednesday, right? They call and say, oh, I'm sorry, you know, it fell through. We're not going to get her. She can't be in town, whatever. Those guys have turned down 2 jobs in that time. They can't go back and pick them up.
Right.
Somebody else has been booked on that, you know. So I keep that at full rate. Now, with it being 3 or 4 days out, I may just call the guy and say, hey, the job went away. You know what I mean? If it's close to the time that I have booked them, you know, another thing I do, which works most of the time, not all of the time, is I usually tell guys, if you get a conflict for this day, call me. Because I may have found somebody else who could take the job, and then if you want to take that one, I can put this other guy on my job.
Gotcha,
you know what I mean?
gotcha,
but I want to hold you. Also, I have been so busy. I mean, look, here's where I'm at this month. I've got 25 shooting days this month. You know what I mean? When I'm like that, I'm dialing the phone. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, hey, hold 13th, 14th. I don't even know where I'm going to put them yet.
Sure.
But I'm going to put them somewhere, you know. And I'll always tell them, you know, if you get a conflict, call me. I can maybe let you go or keep you or whatever. So I try to get that out there. Of course, that's not always convenient either, because guys on set, he gets a call. He goes, no, I'm working on those days. You know what I mean? He doesn't have time to say, hey, let me check, you know, and then he holds them on the phone and then gets back to them and says, no, I can't do it. You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
So,
you know, sometimes a client will, you know, maybe a day or two before the shoot, 24 or 48 hours, like, hey, listen, we're going to push the shoot back till next week. So now, yeah, you did lose those days, but they're saying that the shoot's been moved a couple days.
that's
fudge
like
a little bit?
that's. I mean,
it's a hard one.
I can fudge a little bit, but if my guys, there's going to have to be something. I think.
Some sort of
you know
compensation.
What I mean?
Right?
Yeah. If it's, I mean, and it's really sort of in that crucial time period of like, obviously, there's no more time.
Sure.
I really go by 24 hours. Is really
okay.
If it's anything other than that, I'm likely to give the guys a call and, you know, find out if they've had anything. You know what I mean? That's pushed.
Sure.
But if it's a push, you know, then I can promise. But that doesn't always work for the guys because they're booked next week.
Of course.
They've been booked for 2 weeks on that job, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, there's a lot of variables.
It's a little bit of a gray area.
It is.
It depends on the longevity of the customer.
Yeah.
That could be a factor into it if it's a newbie, you know, kind of deal.
But you know what? I've got their credit card.
Yeah.
And it says in my agreement that if there's a cost, I can charge.
See, that's great.
You know what I mean? And
it's
that is what you
ahead of
have to
time.
have. Yeah, that is what you have to have. You know.
Gotcha.
And I have a very long rental agreement. You know, I think sometimes it's a little too complicated, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I always threaten to simplify the language, but never do. You know, most people don't give a hard time. Sometimes people will take my rental agreement and send it to the legal department.
Wow.
Well, then you know. Oh, I mean, and they come back.
Boy.
And usually they want things redacted. Like there's one clause in there that, it's more corporate issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A policy and stuff like that. There's one clause in there that talks about holding them liable for a length of time, you know, or some described thing. That's usually where I get pushback, which frankly is not a big deal for me because I look at it this way. I've got a signed rental agreement with them. You know what I mean? If it comes down to the most horrible thing, we've got to go to court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And do that. We're way beyond that little clause.
Right. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so I don't usually push back too much on anybody, you know what I mean, that wants to do it. If they want to pay up front, you know what I mean? And occasionally they do, you know. Then that's fine. We don't have to have a credit card application, you know.
Okay.
I mean, because they paid, you know.
Right.
But that does get dicey too. If there's overtime or stuff like that, you know what I mean? You're doing. Now this this whole AB5 thing, I'm telling you, that is going to be a nightmare for the true freelance community. And what I'm going to try to do is I'm talking to somebody about getting him on the next couple of weeks who has a pretty good handle, production manager, has a pretty good handle on what the issues are there. And
Yeah,
stuff.
in a nutshell, can you break down?
I can do it roughly. I
Just
don't. I
rough it.
wouldn't rely on anything I say here as
Right.
being your defining
Right.
answer to this. But it essentially puts, because of these Uber ride shares and all that, people designating them as 1099 freelancers when the state looks at them. Tony, you may know you can break in here anytime.
Yeah.
You can break in here anytime because Tony may have a better handle on it.
I'm not a lawyer. I only play one on TV.
That's
Oh,
right.
yes.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
We'll see at SAG.
But that someone in our industry now is affected by that because they can't just go 1099. In other words, the state looks at that production company as their employer.
But is it a certain amount of days that you work?
Nope.
Can it be just one day? and
One
you're in?
day. One day.
Yeah.
Wow.
One day.
Pretty much the whole 1099 industry is going to go away, except for a few exceptions to to those rules, as there always are. There's always exceptions somewhere, but yeah, pretty much a lot of that is going to go away. It's been a federal law for a long time. It's always been on the books. California has always had rules about 1099 employment, and there's always been certain things that you had that qualify you
Threshold.
as a freelancer versus as
Right.
somebody who should be employed, so to speak.
And they're those things are like, did somebody tell you when to be there?
Exactly.
Are they
right.
instructing
Do
you
you bring
on
your
your
own tools?
duties? Yeah,
remember
stuff
those
like
little
that.
tidbits.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just this law has really just brought down the hammer on
Any
on
fudging.
what was already there, and it's
Yeah.
really sort of clarified it. So it's going to cause a lot of problems for companies, for people who 1099, and for companies who hire these people because they technically can't do it anymore.
Right.
I mean, you couldn't before, but the government sort of looked the other way because it was such a huge industry,
Yeah.
huge sub-industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gotten to a point now, and you and I have just
We had that discussion yesterday. Yeah, and I want to cover a little bit of that too. But think about it from the company's point. What it does is it puts the chill on you. It's not like the state's going to come in and check everybody's pay stub.
Right.
Right. But if you're a company who's duly licensed and you've got clients and you're playing the game and all that, do you want to put yourself in the legal jeopardy of trying to skirt the issue?
Right.
So therefore, I think one of two things. If you're used to getting the check directly from the client, start expecting it to go through payroll with a company because they're going to be the biggest beneficiaries of this, is the payroll companies, because everybody's going to go through it. But what I was talking to Tony about the other day, and I think this is an opportunity for a lot of people, and Tony, if you don't mind, with your permission, I'll use you as the example.
Sure.
Okay. But Tony does a lot of, side editing, freelance editing.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And his first reaction is, God, this is going to kill me. This is going to, this is going to. And I go, you know what, Tony? It could be an opportunity because if he becomes an LLC, does it all correctly, he's actually bumped himself way up the chain then for taking corporate work on because he's an actual entity now. And he can get that. Now, that's less likely for the guy who's the best boy grip to become an LLC and go that route. You know what I mean? Somebody like me, who is an owner of gear, I've been an S Corp for, 10 plus years, you know. So, but for a guy like Tony who does a specialized work and stuff like that, the editing, using his skill, his eyes, his knowledge, that is an opportunity where he can come out and rank up to the top of the market.
That's the question, for the audience too. When is it time to pull the trigger on becoming incorporated?
Well, you know what?
You're $800 away from becoming incorporated.
Here's what I will say. Here's what I will say to that. They have stacked the deck against the working guy.
That's the key.
They have stacked the deck everywhere you go, up and down the state, up and down the Federal Register. They have stacked the deck for you to be an employee via the lobbying powers of, and don't get me going, via the lobbying powers of the industry and everything like that, because they don't want the competition of the small guy who has a low overhead and can be more nimble. So they have stacked the deck against you. What I say, if that's the case, draw a card from their deck. And that is, make yourself an LLC.
There you go.
S corporation.
Yep.
You do it a different way. Let me tell you, I was terrified to become an S corporation when I was, because all I could see is, oh my God, I'm going to buy a can of soup with a corporate card, and I'm going to jail big time, right? You know. And what I found out was it's just good accounting practices that you should be doing anyway. You know, that's the thing that really got me, is I made more money once I became an S Corp because I started paying myself a salary. I wasn't just doing that, you know, kind of what you think when you come from the world of being an employee, and all of a sudden you're in this freelance world, and you know, you got 20,000 bucks in your account. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Now you owe part of it to this thing you sub-rented, and maybe some guys you're paying, you know what I mean, that are working for you. But you're really controlling the cash.
Sure.
And so cash is no problem. I went through that period, then became an S Corp, and then realized I had to have good financial practices. I made more money.
You know, are you going to be under the radar or over the radar if you become incorporated? And now,
you know, it really is.
You know, what's the
well, I'll tell you what. It
juggling
really
act?
is more to do with what your skill set is, right? If you're, say, somebody who is a wardrobe person or a makeup person, somebody that comes to set with an editor, somebody that comes to set with an individual skill, right? That, in other words, they are hiring you for your makeup kit, you know, Tony's software that he's bringing to they are hiring you for that. You know what I mean? That's a better call for them to be an LLC or something that they can bill the production company directly.
Sure.
They are paying a company, not an individual. You know what I mean? Then that person has to institute the good financial practices that come along with that status.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's tougher if you're the best boy, right? Because the best boy usually doesn't get hired like that. You know, just say you've got the whole crew.
Right.
Right? And you've got a gaffer, you've got the best boy, you've got the grip, you know, you've got the PA, right?
Sure.
So now everybody is going to hire those guys, and they go, okay, we're going to put the crew through payroll, except Jim Bob over here, who's an LLC.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Jim Bob now has to, he was doing 1099, he was taking care of his own taxes, he was doing all that. That is not afforded to him anymore, and now he's got to go through the system. But I will say this, and you know, to Jim Bob, you know, if he was outside, you know what? It is not the most horrible thing to go down the payroll route either, for a lot of reasons. Everything is taken out of your check prior.
You're covered.
You're covered. You know what I mean? You're probably going to get some money back. Now, I know the whole argument about I don't want to give the government a check,
sit on my money.
Sit on my money for a year and then give it back to me. I got it. You know what I mean? But you are going, as an individual working guy, you are going to stay further out of jeopardy.
Yes.
On that.
Yes.
I think it's worse on the production companies because think about this. Exactly, Tony agrees with me. Because this guy, next week, he goes, well, I'm not working. I'll go sign up for unemployment. And then the last person that the production company that hires him is on the hook for the unemployment.
Thank you.
You know, that's the kicker. That's the kicker. Also, I think probably insurance-wise on that production company, how many employees do you have a year? Oh, well, we have like 150, but there's only 2 people in our office.
Yeah, full-time staff.
And they're dinged on, what? Think about it, workers' comp, all that. You know what I mean?
I just got my new bill. Just went up.
I got workers' comp. I pay that. You
Yep.
know what I mean? No, it always goes up.
Sure.
It always goes up, and then there's always some from the insurance company, some wacky thing. You never paid, no claims, no nothing, but you
Right.
owe another $7,000.
You know, what about the grip or gaffer that brings a specialty light when he comes out and he rents it
A kit.
to the company? A kit.
Kit fee.
So
I
should
think the kit
should
fee-
they become incorporated?
Well, here's the thing. The kit fee would theoretically have to be, I think so. Yes, I do think that they should become
I think so
incorporated
also.
because they're bringing something to the set that is, it is a special
so
need.
that's the line in the sand.
I think so.
Labor.
I think so.
What do you think? What do you think, Tony?
If you're if you're that kind of person that's that's coming to a set with a lot of gear, you've got cameras, you've got lights, you've got all that kind of stuff, then
You should be incorporated
You should
anyway.
be incorporated.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
That's right.
But it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be harder for the lone wolf.
Yeah.
For the grips, the
Yeah.
gaffers, the electricians, and
I-
people.
So what's gonna happen
A
to
lot
the-
of the lower line people. The onus is going to be put on the companies that are hiring them because
That's right.
in order
That's
to
right.
be able to hire them, they're
That's
going
right.
to have to put them on payroll.
Yeah.
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 we're gonna
And
be
it's going to
forced.
cost that much more for these companies in order to be able to hire a group of individuals to make a project.
Yeah.
Or people just continue to fly under
Yeah.
the radar.
And-
So will
and
that
pay cash.
hurt? Will that hurt the state of California, the industry?
Well, you know what? I think it will. Well, look, every time you hear about something, California is demanding something that most other states who are paying incentives
Exactly.
don't demand.
Right.
So I would say that does. But you know what? I look at it this way. Look at myself. I'll use myself as an example. I have workers' comp, right? On every estimate that I send out, I put in clear letters when they want, let's see, we need 3 guys on the set, right? So I'll go gaffer, key grip, and best boy.
Right.
Right? So I'll put on there, when I put their rates, $650, $700 for 10, $750, I'm putting on their verbiage on that estimate that says, if paid directly by production. Otherwise, if paid by BG&L, my company, a 20% fee will be added for payroll and workers' comp.
Workers' comp,
Okay.
okay.
I just had a client that I worked for. They paid me an extra $3,000 to pay the crew. Okay. Now, that may not be enough in next year's world. That 20, that may have to be
Go to 25.
25%. And let me tell you what I will have to do. Now I have workers' comp, and I've been having my accountant pay the payroll for them, right?
Sure,
Of
course.
On a 1099. Now I will have to take that and go directly to a payroll company, pay what they want. Those guys will become actually the employees of the payroll company. Okay, so they're charging me an arm and a leg.
Right.
Whatever they're charging me, I've got to charge 5 to 10% higher to my clients to do that if they want me to pay them directly. And so I'm going to still make some money on that, right? I'm still going to make some money on that.
Of course.
And I could probably drop my workers' comp because the payroll company will be taking that. You know what I mean? But here's the kicker. I have to have those guys fill out all of the paperwork
Yes.
prior to the job.
Per job or for the year?
Per job.
Oh.
Per job. Okay, if I'm going to pay them.
Yeah.
If that's a production company that wants to pay for them. So I have a small window for, some more income. Okay, so if I worked it right, I got the right payroll company, I charge the right price to the client, I keep the same guys that are paid, so I have a lot of their information transfers from
already.
one job to the other. Yes.
Right. You just the date, the production
Yes,
date, and the name of the
it could
company.
be. So it could become an opportunity for me to charge another division in there of labor, which I had not been charging. Because the reason I put that verbiage in there is because I don't want to pay them.
Right.
That I want to do that. I want that onus on that company.
Exactly.
I don't want to pay them.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost you 20% if I pay them.
Sure. Sure.
So that is where it's at. So, and I think it's the great unknown right now. I think what's probably going to happen is some good companies are probably going to get busted. and somebody's going to file unemployment. Somebody's going to file a claim, a workers' comp claim, and and then it's going to get adjudicated. Although I don't think a court's going to find any issue. You know what I mean? I don't think a court's going to say, "Oh no, the state of California, you're wrong." They're going to say they're right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I think the biggest winners in here are the payroll companies.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, what I'm kind of hoping is that Uber and the rideshare companies take this thing to court, and it gets tied up for a while.
Yeah. But even if they do, I doubt if they'll suspend the law. You know what I mean? I doubt if they'll suspend the law even for that. But for the companies, the Uber companies and stuff who they made that for, I don't know exactly what it does to them. I mean, that's the one we are the collateral damage.
Yeah.
Of this
We're the
whole
after,
thing, of the people that are after, and remember, it's the cab companies that go after, I mean, LAX now, this is just a very much a side note. You can't be picked up by a cab or
Curbside.
Uber.
Curbside.
You have to take a bus somewhere to do that. And I heard there's like 2 or 3 hour delays.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
It's a nightmare.
It's a
nightmare. So I hope that doesn't happen, in our this.
Ooh,
10 more minutes?
10 more minutes.
Jeez, you talk a lot, Gary.
What? I need some more water.
I got something for you if you want to switch gears a little
Yeah,
bit.
please.
All right. A longtime follower of our show, Grandma G.
Grandma G, I love you.
Grandma G.
Thank you, Grandma G.
She's been
Great
following us
supporter.
for a long time.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me see if I can translate this. So, being that you guys have been in the business for a while, what is one aspect of this industry that's been happening that you would like to see retained as this industry changes? Say in this millennial generation, what is something you'd like to see retained?
You know what? I guess what comes to mind, because I think this is really, and this is cultural. You know what I mean? This is not anything that has to do with technology. Is to keep that same sort of brother and sisterhood amongst the people who are below the line.
Yeah.
I think there has always been a very, very good relationship or nurturing between those people. It's not all smooth. It's not everybody's nice to you and not everybody brings you in. But you get with your tribe and your tribe kind of takes care of you. I would like to see that continue. The cutthroat or the backstabbing, all that, that just doesn't work. Just doesn't work.
Yeah,
I guess that's what coming. How about you, Gary?
Thinking of all the back years we used to do, and you brought this up before. It was a small community.
Yeah.
And we all knew each other. Everything was great. There was lots of work. But now there's a whole big group of people joining in. And it just becomes a dog world out there.
Yeah, yeah.
We're all biting on that same piece of meat. So
I would say so. Yeah, no,
I enjoyed those days. Where it was a small community.
Financially, there's a lot more competition amongst the people. But I come down to this, and I don't care what anybody says. I don't think this is ever going to change. The better production value you bring to the set, the more in demand you are.
Yes.
Period.
We all have the same gear. Who's going to bring the talent to the set?
Who do you want to work with?
Yes.
How fast do they work?
Right.
What kind of results do you get when they work?
Exactly.
Those three things will determine who gets called back more. And if you are working 2 days a week and the other guy is working 2.5 days a week, it doesn't even have to be noticeable, because in your career arc, that other guy is going to raise up and up and up, and maybe not more days anywhere, but higher rates.
Yes.
And bigger projects.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I think that is the reality. You know what I mean? And it's based on talent, and talent is usually determined by perseverance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You improve your skills.
Right.
You get smarter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
All of those things.
So, looking towards 2020.
Yeah.
What do you
we
gear
were
up
supposed
for?
to do 2020. We got 5 minutes.
We got
left.
5 minutes to talk about 2020.
We did 2019.
Buy more gear. Raise your rate. Bottom line.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, looking forward to 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that, you know, you're going to have to see where you're at.
Yeah.
You're going to have to set the goals.
Yeah.
And like I said, you check your insurances, make sure you're all,
Yeah.
you know, above the line on the insurance. Don't
Yeah.
go cheap.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get caught, you know, with your insurance pants
Oh,
down.
listen, cover
you know?
your ass.
Yeah, cover
Plain
your
and
ass.
simple.
Minimum.
Cover your ass legally in this
Yes.
business. But here's what I would say. Take the gloves off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want you to go out there and I want you to understand that you have to fight for your survival in this industry. And I don't mean that as a negative. I don't mean that backstabbing or stopping anybody
no.
else. But you got to put yourself out front and center.
Yeah.
And you have to produce. And it is not just kicking back. You know what I mean?
No, it's not coming to you.
It's not coming to you. You got to get out there and sell yourself.
That's right.
And you got to have a philosophy, a work philosophy. And you got to have a production sense. You know what I mean? And a standard that you want to work up to.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. It can't be there's no group of people. You want to win, you got to stand out.
And the thing is, you just don't take anything for granted. You
Yes.
bring your A game to every shoot. Don't
Every
think
shoot.
it can all
Every
happen
shoot.
unless you do it.
Every shoot. Did we have another one, Tony? Okay. Okay.
Oh no, we can talk about 2021. We got 5
Well,
more
you
minutes.
know what? But you bring up a very good point there, Gary. You know what I mean? And that's bringing your A game to the table.
mail it
I'll
in.
tell you what happens to all of us. This happened to me for a while. I caught it. I tell other people if I see it happening, you know what I mean? It can't be. We are on set every day.
Yes.
The people who hire you are not. Their clients, even less.
Yes.
You don't want to become so assuming that this is a very natural place for you to be. You know what I mean? You want to come to that set and treat it like church.
Absolutely.
You're there at an invitation. You are not, you are not there because it's your right to be there. So you treat it with respect.
It's an honor to be there.
It's an honor to be there. It's an honor. How many people in your career, because I know for me, have you talked to and said, you tell them what you do, and the first thing out of their mouth is, oh, that is so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds so awesome. It's a
everybody.
privilege to be in this industry.
Absolutely.
It's a privilege. And this is the only industry I know, and we've had them sitting in that chair right there, people who are engineers, lawyers, accountants, making big money, and they give it all up to come and do this.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I don't mean be the
Exactly.
producer.
No.
They're on the ground. They're doing the work. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's worth. This is if you're lucky enough to be in this industry, and then lucky enough to be able to make a living at it and do well, and then be a leader.
Yeah, you
You're
can't beat
blessed.
that. You're
You're
blessed.
blessed.
Hey, before we get out, I just want to give a quick shout out to John Klein. Get better.
Get better, buddy.
Rehab.
Get better.
Get out there and get back on your feet, John Klein. Really
Yeah.
miss you, buddy.
Yep. That's good. That's good. John's a very good guy. Met John very early on through you.
Yes.
When I came on, and John was always a very good friend. Did a lot of web work with me, and I know he still
Absolutely.
does that.
Yes,
you know?
he does, and he'll be
And,
back on his feet soon.
Yeah, that's great. That's good
thinking
to hear.
good vibes
That's
for you,
good to
John.
hear. Yeah, absolutely. And you know that is a good point. You know, I just posted on some of that the other day. I've lost friends. You know, and now I'm at the age of where it's my contemporaries are passing away and stuff like that. One of the things I wrote this week is just, and this is maybe something I've learned over the years, learned at my older ages, be gentle with people, be easy with people.
Absolutely.
Try to nurture people. If you see them doing something wrong, don't do what I'd probably do and say, what the hell are you doing, you idiot? You know what I mean? Help them out. Help them
Absolutely.
out something. If people have different times in their lives I certainly have, where you're doing better than others.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Try to help the whole thing. And I'll tell you what, lead your tribe. Lead your tribe. You know what
Be
I
a
mean?
leader.
Be a leader. Be a leader. This industry, this group needs leaders.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, great 2019, Bernie,
Yeah,
and
great,
many more in 2020. I'd say.
Yeah.
You know?
And we'll be back. We're gonna have
Oh
more
yeah,
shows
we're
this
not
year.
going anywhere.
Yeah,
I'll be back. As,
we'll be back.
Arnold says.
But no, have a good one. It's been a good show. Thank you, brother.
Right on.
All right.
Super year,
All
Bernie.
right,
Thanks for having me on as
Yeah,
always.
that's right.
Appreciate
No,
it, Bernie.
my pleasure.
And
my
happiest of
pleasure.
holidays. Be safe out there.
Yep. You have a good one. I'll see you next week, next Friday on Bernie's Applebox.
Cut. That's a wrap.